Most people think changing means starting over. Like if you pivot, you're back at zero. New field, new identity, new everything. And honestly, that thought alone is why a lot of people stay stuck. So let me tell you something clearly. You usually don't need to start over. You need to reposition. That's it. And once you see the difference, changing direction stops feeling like panic and starts feeling like strategy. Here's what I mean. When people say they want a new path, they usually ask the wrong question. They ask, what do I want to start doing? And that question sounds normal, but it's the reason you feel overwhelmed because the brain immediately jumps to the hardest version of change. It thinks about new degree, new career, and new everything. But the better question to ask is this: what do I really have that still carries value? Because most pivots aren't about becoming someone completely new. No, they're about taking what you already have and moving into a better place. So let's make this practical. The first thing you need to do is stop thinking in job titles, because titles trap people. Instead of I was a teacher, or I was in healthcare, or I worked corporate, I want you to start thinking about what you actually did every week. Did you explain things to people? Did you manage schedules? Did you solve problems? Did you train others? Did you coordinate moving parts? Did you deal with pressure? Did you document, organize, lead, communicate? These parts, that's the part that transfers. When you pivot well, you don't carry the title, you carry the function. Secondly, not everything from your past needs to come with you, and that's totally okay. But you need to extract what still works. So you ask yourself, what part of my experience will still be valuable if the environment changed? Because experience isn't useless just because you're tired of it. No. Like teaching experience doesn't only belong in the classroom. It transfers into training, curriculum, leadership, coaching, even content creation. Healthcare experience doesn't only belong in a clinic. It can move into education, leadership, operation, consulting, specialized roles. Even parenting carries real transferable skills like time management, prioritization, communication, problem solving, organization. Those are the small things, that you can have. That's real competency. Now, this is where people mess things up. They assume that changing direction means learning something completely new. Sometimes it does, but most of the time, you don't need a whole new skill. You need a new container. Same skill, different environment. So instead of asking, what new skill do I need? I want you to ask, where else can the skill solve a real problem? That one question saves people years. Now, let's talk about school for a second, because this is where people spend money they didn't need to spend. A lot of people go back to school because they want permission to pivot. They want something that feels official, something that makes the change feel justified. But education should not be your first move. Education should support a direction that's already clear. So before you enroll, ask yourself, what will this degree allow me to do that I cannot do right now? If you can't answer that question clearly, pause. Because the right degree is a tool, okay? The right degree is a tool. The wrong degree is debt with stress attached. Now, here's one of the best strategies for changing directions without starting over. You build sideways first. Most people think pivots happen through dramatic jumps. No. The smartest pivots usually happen through small shift. You take on adjacent responsibilities, you test new directions in small ways, you volunteer for projects that match where you want to go, you do a trial version before the full commitment. Sideways movements reduces risk, and if you're a parent or you have real responsibility, this matters a lot. You don't need a risky leap. No, you need a smart transition. So here's the reframe that I want you to keep. Changing direction isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming more aligned. If you feel like you're starting from zero, it's usually because you're ignoring what you already have, and you don't need to ignore it. You need to reposition it. So if you're in that place right now, it's a quick check for you. You're not starting from zero. If you can do these things, you're not. You can name the functions you're good at. You can see, where those functions create value in other environments. You can test directions before committing fully. And if you do need school, you're using it strategically, not emotionally. That's how people pivot without losing everything they've built. If you're navigating a career change in directions and you want practical teaching on careers, education, money, and real life decisions, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. This channel is here to help you move forward with clarity, not fear. I'm Dr. Nazar. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.